This is Chris. He decided to buy a nice big SUV, and he found one. An efficient BMW X5 diesel. So let's call the car dealer. There's still things to talk about. His first question is it still available? The car dealer says yes. What a sympathetic guy. But still Chris isn't okay with the price, so maybe we can get a bit lower. The car dealer seems to be open for an offer. So does Chris. 53,600 euros is the top of his budget. So, does he have a new car?
Alles klar. Wiederhören.
Well, that was a bit different like Chris thought it would be. Don't be a baby, don't cry. That's an attractive solution.
With a front view camera, a back view camera, and even side view cameras in the mirrors. Welcome to the in-depth review of the Kia Sorento. I'm Chris. As the Sorento is an off-road car, today I'm presenting you a car that's not as clean as usually the other cars that I show you, because that somehow belongs together. But let's see what it's offering. So it's a really clean front with really beautiful full LED headlights, and basically if there wasn't this Kia logo, I think you couldn't even tell what it is. Could be also a Cadillac or a Chevy or whatever. You have the choice between a completely black front grille. This one is chrome, a combination between chrome and black. So only the front part is chrome, the upper part is black. Looks really nice. Take this one. I recommend you to do so. We do have a front view camera, and yeah, just take a look at the catalogue really carefully, because we also have this here, and this color you can also choose which one you have in the end. This car is grey, so my favorite color would be the white with the pearl effect, but that's always a question of taste. And about the headlights, we're going to be talking in the review more in depth when driving it on the highway in darkness, because there is something that I have to say about it, and of course even the side view. So what's expecting us here is a really straight roof line, not that typical really modern coupe SUV styling. So this roof line goes and goes and goes and only finishes here, and actually even not here where the window comes, because we do have that kind of spoiler, and that makes the car seem to be even a bit longer, about 20 centimeters more. So it's a straight roof line, what of course gives you a more spacious interior sitting on the back seats, because there is no coupe roof line dropping what might touch your head or hair or whatever you have, but I don't. And then we do have the door handles, chrome. Normally I wouldn't go for chrome, but here this chrome package is really nice, especially with these chrome window surroundings. It looks a bit matte, and this is what I love about them. We do have an LED light here in the inner part of the door handle, so if you come close to the car it automatically lights up just to show you where the door handle is. And this little button here is for opening the car, because it's not like opening as soon as you get close to it or touch it. You have to push this button. As you can see now, it folds the mirrors, and a side view camera in the mirror, just to show you different perspectives with the surround view, or around view, how it's being called at Kia. And I will show you how sensible it is and how well it works. You can switch, and you have the bird view perspective, just like now, where you see the car from the bird view, and you can see everything around it, and it's really high resolutional. And you can switch between the different cameras in the side mirrors, just like in this case now. I know I fit through here, but maybe I would just hit that tree, so I'm watching it with the camera's perspective here, where you can see the front left wheel, and you can also see that there is no tree getting close to our car. And also again the view from the bird view perspective, so that's nice. And even parking in these parking spaces, in these tight parking spaces, is nice, just like curbside, or if you go to the car wash This car has a long wheelbase, and with the cameras you can watch where you drive. You don't even need the skipped side mirror anymore, just like I used to park always with my cars, just to watch the curbside in the side mirror, the back wheel, the back rim, and here you can watch it on the camera, and you don't even need to skip the side mirror because you can see everything here on the screen by swapping through these camera perspectives. So this is something that I really adore in this car. And altogether, with the tinted back windows and these rims, there is basically nothing to complain about. So the last thing is to check out the backside. Even here, you couldn't say it's a Kia if there wasn't a Kia logo. The backlights, again, really beautifully designed with beautiful LED graphics, and that looks a bit like OLED maybe, but if you get closer you see it's not, but I think Kia did that on purpose. The only thing from the back view what I don't like is the exhaust pipe here, because this is the top trim, so this is the platinum trim, the top package that you can get, and with the most powerful engine, and still we only have one exhaust pipe on the right side. I wish this car had two of them, maybe at least left and right. There is one package below the platinum, it's the GT line, and there you have different exhaust pipes, and I like these a bit more. Now let's check out the boot space, as there is plenty of boot space. 660 litres make it really interesting, and there is an option that you shall get, even if it's a 900 euros additionally, the third seat row. Because like this you can have 6 additional passengers, so altogether 7 passengers with the driver. You can skip up these 2 parts, which are fully valuable leather seats. Really sensible, and if you don't need it you just skip it back and you have plenty of boot space. Just like you can see here, this is a buggy and easily 2 of them could fit in here, so there's lots of space. The only thing that I don't like, it's a little detail, so it's always until now things that you can live with, is that this isn't fixed in a rail, it's just like hanging free, and you always have to watch that you just put these handles in these holes, and sometimes the left side it has already locked and the right side hasn't. As you can see, the first 5 times I couldn't close it. That's the thing about the boot space.
As it's just a facelift, let's just fly quickly through the interior. Dear doubters, the times have passed where Kia looked cheap. Beautiful material finish, like matte chrome, piano painting, even if not really an advantage for fingertips. The air condition unit offers a self-explaining overview. It's all elegant and not an overkill of buttons. No fully digital dashboard, only the middle part, but really good readability, bright and informative. The shifters on the steering wheel are all the same for active cruise control, volume and menu, so you need plenty of time getting used to it, as you might push volume instead of cruise control speed, but at the same time, like this, it's more uniform in design. The altogether impression is truly satisfying. The quality of the leather seats absolutely convincing. They're not just heated, also ventilated, at least the front seats. Really cool for summertime. The nav offers good resolution and a bunch of functions. For example, on longer trips, it permanently shows you in a split screen where the next service station is located, and the next after this as well. And also a really sensible feature, as soon as you enter a foreign country, the nav shows you all the important infos like area code and speed limit. Furthermore, you have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay to have WhatsApp or your phone on your nav screen, and of course also Google Maps, which is unavoidable if you need live traffic infos for your trip, as the nav doesn't show live traffic info, so somehow you depend on your Google Maps. That's the only deficit of the nav.
So then, after the looks comes the driving. As mostly known from Asian cars, you do not really have a big choice of engines. To be more exact, it's only 2. We have a 2.4 litre GDI petrol engine, naturally aspirated, and this 2.2 litre CRDI, the diesel. And I definitely and truly recommend you to take the diesel, and this has many reasons. Reason number one is the diesel has 200 PS, the petrol version 188. The petrol version is a naturally aspirated engine, so it doesn't have a turbocharger or a supercharger. The diesel has, so that makes it more powerful, and that makes it having 441 Newton meters instead of 241 watts the petrol version has, and 2 tons 241 Newton meters compared to 441 Newton meters. Well, I think I don't have to say anything. And also the fuel consumption average is going to be better with the diesel, and the acceleration times also, because you have the choice between manual, automatic, and all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, and depending on what you take, that influences the acceleration time. This here, accelerating in 9.4 seconds from 0 to 60, from 0 to 62 miles an hour or 0 to 100 kilometers an hour.
If you would like to see the acceleration time from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in the sport and in the comfort mode, just click on top right and get forwarded to the acceleration video.
You can improve this acceleration time if you take the manual transmission and the front wheel drive. Then it's 8.7 seconds, so approximately a half of a second of a difference. But though I'm a big fan of acceleration, this isn't the right car for accelerating. It's more the family traveling car. So give away this half of a second and enjoy the automatic transmission, the 8-speed automatic transmission. Again, better the diesel, because I can't understand why, but the petrol version, if you take the automatic transmission, has only 6 speeds.
I already noted fuel consumption average, so let's get in detail about this, as I think it's one of the most important aspects. And what would have been better than to test the fuel consumption average of the Kia on a long trip? This is what I did. I went from Munich to Geneva, Switzerland, to the Geneva Motor Show 2018. By the way, you can click through my library and see all the videos from the Geneva Motor Show. What we know, on Swiss roads you really have to be careful. If you ignore the speed limit, they burn your car down, send you to prison and whatever. So I drove between 100 and 120. After taking my eyes off the beautiful scenery that the lake next to Geneva offers, I saw a fuel consumption average of 7.3 litres. Really good for such a big heavy SUV. On the way back to Germany, after having crossed the German border, I decided to give pedal to the metal, just to try out how fast the Kia Sorento goes. And by the way, before we talk about the fuel consumption at these higher speeds, I was really surprised by the smoothness that I could drive with. Again, the really good insulation came to its benefit. Even above 200 km per hour, no wind noises, you can still talk comfortably to your passengers. On the data paper, the Kia goes 205 km per hour, the dash showed 217, and it felt even a bit faster than 205 to be honest. But to put that thing with the fuel consumption in a summary, it went up to 8.4 litres after having arrived in Munich. And that's really more than okay. I had my cameraman with me and plenty of luggage. And I drove between 180 and 210 km per hour constantly on the German Autobahn. But there are also circumstances which the Kia Sorento diesel doesn't like. It's city traffic, so driving stop-and-go traffic, driving short distances. There I have tested a fuel consumption average between 9 and 11.5 litres, and that's quite a lot for a 2.2 litre four-cylinder. But that's not the Kia's fault, it's the fact that you have 2 tons and these have to be moved, and always slowing down, accelerating again, that hires each fuel consumption average. Oh, before I forget, there was something about the headlights that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. It's the following issue. Besides every positive aspect of driving this car on a highway, power, comfort, smoothness, the only thing bothering me was the headlights. Though it's LED, it felt more like halogen. You can see it here in the video, and in person it was even a bit worse, that you can't see how the road goes. I don't know if it's because it's too weak, or if it lights too much down on the road. but I really needed to switch on the high beam for knowing how the road goes, especially at higher speeds. But you can't drive always like this for not bothering the other traffic participants. Hopefully, Kia can face this with a software update or by setting the LEDs. Kinda weird. The high beam was really bright and fantastic, but the low beam wasn't.
City driving. This is one of the regions where you will drive mostly besides country roads and highways. The power is definitely more than enough for the city where maybe green light is just about to switch to red light and you just like to catch it and you hit the gas. The car is big, yes, so it's not really the perfect car for maneuvers in the city, but at the same time it feels really agile. For example, it doesn't need that much space to turn around. Surprisingly not, because it's a 4.80 m car, so that's about the same segment just like a Touareg, like the current Touareg. If you'd like to see a test about the brand new Touareg, then just click on top right here and get forwarded to the video with the brand new Volkswagen Touareg.
But now let's get back to the Kia and the really sensible feature called active cruise control. We know it, but you don't always drive on highways, and you can use it even in the city traffic. And the advantage of the Kia Sorento, the active cruise control also works at speeds slower than 60 km. That's not natural. Only the lane assist, which normally takes over the steering, works only above 60 km/h. So the Kia Sorento makes it really attractive of using the ACC even in the city. What you see now is a problem what you have in general with the active cruise controls. So maybe you wouldn't have slowed down in this situation because you normally easily fit through between this Tiguan and the traffic coming from the opposite side, but the active cruise control slowed down. But in 90% of the cases the ACC does what you would have done. Like here, a car in front of us at a red light.
And if you want to drive off again, you just need to push this button and it accelerates back automatically to the speed that you have set. I do 55 km/h. Fantastic, so it's not just a car for traveling. So what have we learned? We've learned that the Kia Sorento is powerful to drive in the city traffic. It's not an acceleration monster with these 9.4 seconds from 0 to 62, but for the city traffic it's more than enough. It's easy to maneuver, though it's a big size SUV, and it's really well insulated. You can't hear the diesel, you're just gliding through the traffic and it's really comfortable. It's not annoying. Combined with the active cruise control, you can really have a nice driving even if you have lots of traffic. And just like now, you will see how easily you can turn around with this 4.80 m SUV. Take a look at this. So that's really surprisingly little space that it needs to turn around. And now you can see when I'm driving into this parking space, I just have to switch on the camera with this button. Just change to this perspective where I can see the front right wheel and I can see that I'm not scratching it, just like this. Yips. And I can also see there is some space between the rim and the curbside. Driving on a country road. Now if we check out accelerating or overtaking, let's switch into the sport mode and let's check it out. Well, it's definitely enough for overtaking. The only thing where you might have problems, and this is a situation that I discovered with the Kia, when people driving German car brands see you in the rear mirror and they see that you're trying to overtake. That's typical German behavior. A typical German bad behavior. They're trying to prove that their car is faster, and as they can see you accelerating, they're also accelerating. And with the 2 tons, of course you will have problems if a 150 to 170 PS diesel or petrol or whatever is accelerating the same time like you do. You will have problems on the country roads. But besides this, if that doesn't happen to you, you can really overtake. There's no problems, just like not having enough power, 441 Newton meters and 200 PS. But again here, I recommend you to take the diesel, because the petrol version, due to missing supercharger and turbocharger will have problems compared to the diesel.
Now, if already on the country road, let's see how the lane assist works. This noise is the lane assist telling you that you have crossed the side lane or the middle lane. The same you can hear if you've got someone driving in a blind spot.
And the green symbol, the green logo in the dash shows us now that he has both lines in the eye and keeps us in line, and he does. I'm always a bit scared with middle parts like here where you might scratch it if you don't. And now he tells me to touch the steering wheel again, and this is what I think is nice, because in the Kia Sorento it's enough to touch it just with your thumb like this, and again it recognizes that you're still awake, so you do not have to shake the steering wheel just to make sure that you're here. Even many cars from... So this is a situation, just take a look at it. I need to hit the brakes now by myself because now the lane changed. We had two lanes and both got together, and this is a situation that the active cruise control cannot face, but even in cars being a lot more expensive not. And getting back to the steering wheel, so that's something that even cars being more expensive can't do, that you just touch the steering wheel with your thumbs just softly like this, and it immediately knows again that you're still awake. And now I have a really comfortable driving behind this truck because I can't overtake anyway, and it keeps the speed, it keeps the distance, and also the steering. Now you can set, of course, the distance that you'd like to keep, if it's more or less, and I set it to the smallest possible, and now he doesn't keep a distance where even a plane could fit in between because I don't like that. You do have to have an eye on the road, so this is not fully autonomous driving, it's supported driving, because number one, the steering of course always needs to be touched, the steering wheel, every 15 or 20 seconds. That's number one. And number two is that, just like we could see now, if the lanes are changing, or sometimes two lanes get one lane, or the lanes get different colored, just like from white to yellow, this might be confusing the system, because this is not thinking, this is just watching, so the cameras, and that could be dangerous. So you always have to be ready for taking your hands to the steering wheel as quickly as possible. And now, could you see that? Could you see that? That was a typical situation. What I was just explaining, it was a curve and it couldn't really face the lines on the road, and we left. And that's why you always have to keep an eye on the road, even if you do have that supported steering, which works really nicely, but even with the traffic coming from the opposite side, you really have to be careful. So it's nice, but still stay focused on the road. Now, if we can, let's check out the acceleration and overtaking this truck if we can. And it works well. 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, and now I have to go off the accelerator pedal. So you don't have to be afraid of not being able to overtake with these 200 PS.
As some of you surely are planning to drive sometimes a bit, let's say off-road, so on squishy and muddy ground, I also wanted to show you how the car's behavior is in a place like this. As you can switch with only one button between front wheel and all-wheel drive, it's really an easy thing. You're always prepared within seconds for squishy and muddy ground. And as you can see, the Kia does quite well, thanks the all-wheel drive and thanks the ground clearance. The only thing where we decided not to continue with that trip on this ground was when even the Ram 1500 with its V8 and 420 PS driving in front of me had to struggle by getting through that muddy hole. And for not being stuck in the middle of nowhere, I decided to turn around. But I think in the end, the Kia could have faced it, at least with a rolling drive-through. So finally, having finished the recordings, the last step for me was to dismount the camera from the camera car. And a guy came by, and I thought, This is the perfect situation for
Ja.
a different kind of conclusion.
Schönes Auto, hey.
Schon, oder?
Ja, ich habe ihn letztens in der Werbung gesehen und ich muss echt sagen, er hat mich schon echt umgehauen. Also echt der Wahnsinn, was die Asiaten dann mittlerweile für Autos bauen.
Absolut, ja. Können wir vielleicht Englisch reden, weil ich filme für Carmania.
Ja, klar.
Ich bin der Chris.
I'm Daniel, nice to meet you.
Hi.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen that car like in many advertisements.
It's only 53,600 euros. And this is the top trim, so it's the platinum trim, yeah. It has full LED headlights, surround view camera, leather seats.
And everything like included in the 53,000.
Everything included in the 53,000 and also a third seat row if you might have more children to carry around maybe.
Yeah.
660 liters of boot space.
Wow. So if you like compare it to like BMW X5, if you're going to spec this up like in that, like the specs in that car,
Yeah.
you're going to pay like 70,000 or 80,000.
75 more if you take a 4-cylinder X5. It's nice, the leather quality was really convincing me
All right.
and everything, so
Wow. Looks amazing.
you're the 5th person asking me about this car.
Oh really?
Yeah, everywhere where I am, and mostly family dads, because they know the prices of the German cars.
I can imagine. I don't know. So, if I'm going to think about, I want to have like rear view camera. I want to have like a automatic transmission and everything, nice leather seats and quality. I don't know if I'm going to like, if I would be like to able to spend about 70,000 euros to have like a BMW, Audi, or a Mercedes. So, I think, in my opinion, you have like everything what you need in this kind of car. So, I think that should absolutely like fit for everybody, isn't it? Yeah. Which kind of engine is it here?
This is a 200 horsepower, 200 PS, diesel 2.2 litre, 441 Newton meter and the 8-speed automatic transmission. And it's so calm, so you drive and you can't hear any wind noises and nothing.
I do really like what Kia and all the Asian cars and brands and manufacturers are going to do at the moment. So, and I'm really in love with the Kia Stinger. And what are like the negative points about this car?
I basically don't have so much negative points. I haven't discovered 2 weeks after having 2 weeks driven this car. The only thing is of the LED light, if you don't use the high beam, it's a bit too dark. Or it's not dark, the light goes down to the road, and driving higher speeds on the highway, you can't really see where the road goes. Maybe Kia can set this, you know, that they set the light a bit higher, so you have to ask. But anyway, the only thing that I don't like that much, but it's a little detail, if you open it, just listen.
Oh yeah, this is like quite annoying.
Beep, beep. Always on the supermarket's parking space, people are watching what's happening now, and I don't like that, because it sounds like a truck that's driving in a reverse gear, you know.
Yeah, but if this is like the only negative points, I think it's okay for that. You're paying like 53,000 euros for a full spec Kia.
For a brand new car with 70 years of warranty.
Chris, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Was
You
a
can
pleasure.
just watch the test, yeah?
Of course.
On Carmania. Just check it out and subscribe to my channel.
On YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
Perfect.
Carmania.
Nice. So, have a good one.
You also. Bye. Ah, sorry.